False claims that Toyota Voxy vehicles, which have been declared illegal for commercial use, have been banned. And later, President Mahama tasked Finance Minister and Energy Minister to begin discussions on the possible removal of selected taxes within the petroleum pricing structure. We have a thorough discussion with our team of analysts on Good Afternoon Ghana. Now let's move on to our first story. President John Dramani Mahama has ordered immediate interventions to shield Ghanaians from surging fuel prices as global tensions in the Middle East continues to disrupt oil supplies and push up costs. Now the directive was issued following a cabinet meeting in Accra on Thursday, convened shortly after the president's return from an official visit to France. The meeting focused on urgent steps to ease pressure on households and businesses amid sharp increases in petrol and diesel prices. The Minister of State in charge of Government Communications, Felix Kwatri-Ofosu, addressed the press after the meeting. Let's take a listen.
Consequently, Cabinet has decided that the following measures be taken to mitigate the impact of the recent increases that we've seen in fuel prices, which are solely attributable to the conflict that has arisen. What has happened is that because of restrictions in the Strait of Hormuz, the quantities of fuel that could be transported through that strait has reduced significantly. About 20% of crude oil parcels pass through that strait, and since the beginning of the conflict, there has been significant restriction. This has led to an increase in crude oil prices. It has led to an significant increase in insurance premiums and other such costs. And that is what has accounted for the increases you've seen in the last two pricing windows, despite the very stable economic environment we've had, which has cushioned Ghanaians significantly. So Cabinet believes that a number of steps need to be taken in order to avert any further fallouts. So the first directive that Cabinet has issued is that the finance and energy ministers should take immediate steps to reduce the price of fuel through the removal of some taxes and margins on fuel, effective the next pricing window, which is about a week from today. And this is supposed to be done as soon as possible. Second, the Transport Minister has also been instructed to ensure the expedited deployment of newly acquired Metro Mass buses. You recall that over the weekend I announced the arrival of 100 Metro Mass buses. Another batch of 100 buses are expected in August, and then the last batch of 100 are expected in November to make up 300. But currently we have 100 available, and the Transport Minister has been instructed by Cabinet to ensure expedited deployment of these buses in high traffic corridors to ensure that it alleviates any difficulties that may have arisen out of the recent fuel price increases. The Transport Minister has also been charged with ensuring that these Metro Mass buses, in addition to the existing ones, charge or maintain transport fares which are lower than what private sector operators charge. And this is to ensure that Ghanaians are cushioned, especially when we reach peak periods at the rush hour. In addition to this, the President took the opportunity at the Cabinet meeting to remind all ministers and senior government officials and appointees to adhere strictly to his ban on fuel allowances and the allocation of fuel. And this applies to all ministers and senior government officials. Let me indicate that the reduction or removal of some taxes and margins, as I've indicated, which should lead to a reduction in fuel prices, effective the next pricing window, is supposed to last for an initial period of 4 weeks.
Now, tension is brewing in the Eburasi-Bukomankese district in the central region following the alleged destillment of the Omankrado of Abaratechi, Nana Kwame II. While traditional leaders claim he has been stripped of his title on the orders of the Omanhene, the embattled chief is firing back, insisting that he remains the legitimate traditional ruler. Our regional correspondent, Isaac Daji, has the details. The atmosphere at Abaratechi We do apologize for the technical glitch. We'll go for a quick break and we'll be right back.
Hey buddy, it's me Azar.
Yeah, me now they see. Hey, you don't look fresh. Oh.
Hey.
With your label today. Me.
Wait till you see what's inside me.
Azar, freshly made inside and out for greater coverage and colors that last longer and beautify your walls, spaces and places. Azar, no size. Go ahead. Buy now. Azar, #1 from Azar Group since 1921.
Looking for comfort, convenience, and class all in one place? Welcome to Stay Easy Apartments on Conference Center, where modern living meets exceptional service. Whether you're staying for business or leisure, Stay Easy offers you a home away from home. Spacious and well-furnished apartments, pool, gym, and everything you need to relax and feel at ease. Planning a meeting, workshop, or special event? Our event ground and state-of-the-art conference center is designed to host your events and bring your vision to life. From corporate gatherings to private functions, we provide the perfect space, supported by modern equipment and a professional team ready to assist you. At Stay Easy, your comfort and success are our priority. Book your stay or reserve your space today. Call us at 020-739-1473 or 0244-226367. Stay Easy Apartments and Conference Center. Stay easy with us.
Hey, Banty, why you there? Well, lie, tell her today go give me my money.
Oh, my guy, what's up? Oba un 17 and dede baby. Scan on ASA.
500 cedis per.
Ah.
Hey, I see. Level don't change. But to show me the way.
But there's some sorry, Manua. Talk to babe.
¿Quieres ganar dinero?
Huh?
Cash.
Yes, cash.
Let me show you the easy way to make money with One Shot.
Visit the WannaOwn website at wannaown.us. Sign up with your phone number and get ready to play. Select games on the homepage and then select One Shot Game. Deposit to make an entry, then pick a number from 0 to 99. If your number comes up, you win a cool 500 cedis.
Hey, so it'll be easy like that.
Just like that.
So I'll go buy my dream car.
Por supuesto. Just visit wannaown.us and win some cool cash prizes.
It's Bemi.
Boom!
You be too much.
Play responsibly. Gaming can be addictive. Accredited and endorsed by the Gaming Commission of Ghana.
Yeah, welcome to Junction 5 Lounge. Bar, grill, Chill.
You know, say me the Lord for the whole area. Me the control every street for here. My name is Lord Gaza.
Lord Gaza. You do hear they mix liquor and things. I beg you, for do what? For gather some of him. Otherwise, I think gather boys. You are bad bad me now. I see. Landlord, I beg this one. I beg you for understand him. Hello.
As young people, you need to be able to make decisions that will better your lives.
If you gave this money to me, Jane, I would have bought you nice clothes, like look nice, change my nails, like.
Oh, lift it.
Hey, you do such God answer prayers.
Nanama Ejewa. Is this the class you're supposed to be taking?
Please.
Nanama,
Please,
is this really happening? What be the source of your what? What's the source of your poverty?
Ayuba days, coconut.
Ayuba days, coconut that.
Fast.
Point of correction. I know be Lord Gaza anymore. If you call me Yao.
Oh, Brian.
Hey, all this you should call you this one. Brian for where?
Well, I'm done, Senna. Hey, see now what I'm doing there. You can't see me.
Your lounge has been placed at number 10. But after today,
number
I think,
10?
Yeah. After today, I think I'll place you guys at number 5, depending on the taste of your food. Yes.
When Jin is scared about a child and said, okay, you're thinking about what? What is going on with you?
You know one thing, you guys are so incompetent these days. Look here, I'm talking to you, you know that's the truth.
Supplies!
You're surprised I've surprised you.
Lord Gaza. M-H-O-V. Lord Gaza.
Basu.
Boss will they come? Yeah. I say you did lie. Me I did lie. You did lie. How the girl feel you?
You're welcome back from the break. We do apologize for the technical glitch. Now let's move on. The United Nations, in collaboration with the government of Ghana, has engaged private sector players to mobilize investment in agribusiness for refugees and host communities under the GRASP initiative.
The dialogue held at the Movenpick Ambassador Hotel Accra brought together key stakeholders to explore investment opportunities under the Ghana Refugee, Agribusinesses and Sustainability Program, GRAPS. Goodwill Ambassador for UNHCR, Nikki Samunas, highlighted the human impact of the initiative, stressing the need to support refugees in building sustainable livelihoods.
They've been with us for a couple of years and some even decades. And we are trying to prevent them from relying on us and looking for aid. So we want to integrate them into the system for them to be a part of us. They can also work, and that is why GRASP is here, farming business. We want them to be a part of our home, our lives, and then we want them to be able to also take care of themselves and then also work for the economy to become better.
But questions remain about prioritization, as the head of UNHCR National Office Ghana, Tete Padi, defended the focus on refugees despite rising unemployment concerns by Ghanaians.
So we're not only focusing on refugees, we're focusing on refugees and host communities. In actual fact, in some of the areas that we are implementing the GRASP project, we have more host communities, that is Ghanaian nationals, than refugees, which for us is a very good thing, because the whole idea also is that we will have, at the end of the day, skills transfer from these formidable farmers from Burkina Faso to their hosts. And even after they've left, the infrastructure will be there, the farms will be there, and the skills would have been acquired. And I think that we all stand to benefit from that.
Private sector players, including KGL Group, say investing in refugee agribusiness presents both economic and social value with potential for long-term returns.
Given that agric is pretty much an area that feeds the national population, it will be imperative for organizations, especially those in the private sector, to invest in that and to help improve the lives of people living in not just rural communities but urban settlements as well.
Stakeholders say stronger partnerships will be key to scaling impact across host communities.
Now moving on, life has become unbearable for many farmers in Okoso in the Etiwa West district of the Eastern region following the destruction of their farms. Now the Brim River and several acres of farmlands have been completely destroyed by illegal mining, significantly disrupting farming activities. There's more in this report.
The most affected people are farmers who had their farms invaded by KE Gold Empire. Food crops and cash groups like cocoa and palm trees were not spared. The farmers say they have completely lost their livelihood without any form of compensation, despite initiating legal processes.
I'm feeling is a Imaba has Good Empire.
This is how I feel since he arrived around 2011. He hasn't brought any development. Instead, he's been digging holes all over the place. I had even gone to speak with him about it before. He had his men assault me. We've had numerous discussions, but he continues to use his wealth to sway the situation.
The miner, allegedly identified as Emmanuel Irinchi, continues to mine in the area. A bird eye view shows several acres of land as well as the Brim River completely desecrated. Residents say they no longer have places to farm, leaving them in distress.
He approached
me and said he was interested in purchasing the land. He didn't even pay a quarter of it. He bought 12 acres. He hasn't given me anything. He said everything on it belongs to him. The land was cultivated with cocoa, plantain and orange trees. I'm begging the government because he took it all and didn't give me a penny.
Large pits dug by the miner have been left uncovered, placing residents in danger. Those whose farms have not been destroyed also are no longer able to access them.
First of all, the stench is unbearable for us and our children who live here. Given how the scent travels, it is impossible for them to even eat. Moreover, if you are walking along this path, the moment you get close to the smell, you are hit with an overwhelming stench that makes you want to vomit.
Public toilet baby a insuo pipe kula no ye ni bi assembly mine na abeya asisi ono so eton omani ni hwe mfaso bi na omunya free yima so bi sisa bi
me ha one say yima betu masase 1000 kura wa maye bi na ye di asem no koma papa bi ewo asama ye friend ayim.
My problem is that Ima has taken our land and hasn't given us a penny. We have taken the matter to a man in Asaman called Enim. Enim called Ima, and when he came to discuss the matter, he asked who my father was.
The residents are strongly appealing for an urgent intervention by state agencies to halt the illegal mining operations and cause the miner to reclaim the land so they can return to their farming activities.
Now, on this week's of schools homecoming, alma mater alumni of Agri Memorial and Infanta Pym schools celebrated their alma mater's rich cultural heritages.
The PRO for the 2001 year group of Agri Memorial, Maami Kesewa, reflected not just on personal experiences, but on the school's impact and commitment to development, noting that over the years, the institution has contributed significantly through projects such as establishment of an ICT lab and donation to the Cape Coast School for the Deaf.
Project.
Yeah.
Okay, so we did an ultramodern ICT lab for the school, fitted with brand new computers, desktop computers with internet facilities, Microsoft applications, projectors for the school. We realized that they didn't have computers, and so learning ICT was like in theory, There was no practical side to it. So we refurbished a hall and fitted it with all of these. And we made sure that internet connectivity, for instance, does not cut, because without internet, they can't learn.
Chairman of Programs, Media and Publicity for the 1985-year group anniversary celebration of Infante Pim Atobofo also underscored the school's legacy, describing it as a trailblazer in secondary education in Ghana and emphasizing its long-standing reputation as a pace-setter.
Okay. So, just to come back to how we became the originators of Homecoming, we started the fight for independence.
You also like to debate.
Even before Nkrumah arrived.
Okay.
So in 48, when Nkrumah was arrested, students wrote a letter to the governor.
Now you are proving me wrong. So you've brought Nkrumah into the scope of the conversation.
So
I salute
that's
you.
how far back.
Okay.
And Lockhart, one of the English headmasters of the school, he envisaged that years down the line, as the school had started, Infante Pim would dominate the country.
The segment once again reinforced the deep sense of pride and belonging shared among alumni as they celebrated the traditions, values, and contributions of their schools to Ghana's educational landscape.
Now, the Kumasi Metropolitan Assembly has begun a major demolition exercise around the Baba Yara Sports Stadium as part of the Assembly's citywide beautification drive. The Assembly member, led by the Mayor, Richard Ofori Ajamanabuedi, said the task force will visit places like the Swami Roundabout and Ebreport Junction, stressing the exercise as part of KMA's effort to enhance public safety.
Kumasi is the second largest city in the country, and as it happens in all major cities, major roads, ceremonial roads are kept tidy. And that is exactly what we want to do. So there are 3 areas that we are focusing on in this April. Make sure that structures that do not help us to have the beautification of Kumasi as we expected will be carried away. Now the first area is in between the Swami Roundabout or the Swami Interchange, so to call, once it's under construction. And then Ebreport Junction, where State Boys Schools, cluster of schools is, directly opposite the Adventist Secondary School, stretching towards where Angel FM is. The car garages have taken over all the lands that belong to the school. It's impeding school activities. So there are 2 things I want us to have over there. We want to, as much as possible, help for teaching and learning to go on smoothly. And then we want to see how best we can also enhance the sale of vehicles by the car dealers at the place. So I've asked them, want to construct structures that will have glasses so that they can keep their cars in and then help beautify the place while their businesses also go on. They are asking for us to give them extended time. I'm going to sit down with my technical officers. We'll do an evaluation of their request and then we'll come up with a firm conclusion. Well, once that is done, we'll communicate back. The next point is the Kumasi Sports Stadium. We have been engaging them. We gave them a deadline of 31st December 2025. They pleaded through the regional minister. We extended it for 1 month. They pleaded through Diana Dadeswa Baine and Anama Mukumu. So we extended it to the 6th of April. Today is the 7th of April. We have come to the place and it looks like nobody's ready to move. And so we are taking steps to move them away. They are also making a plea. And what we are saying is that if we can all come to a conclusion where we can have one properly designed structure that will enhance the beautification of the city, we'll be ready to listen to them and do something about it, just so their businesses will flourish and the city and its beauty will also not suffer.
Still in the Ashanti region, police in the region say calm has been restored following violent clashes between youth of Esisriwa and Brodikwano in the Busumchi district on Wednesday, 8th April 2026, about 11 a.m. In a statement, the police indicated that some youth from Brodikwano had allegedly invaded Esisriwa, resulting in violent confrontations between residents of the 2 communities. Personnel from the Kuntanase District Police Command with reinforcement from the Asokwa Divisional Command and the Regional Operations Unit swiftly moved to the scene to restore law and order. Upon arrival at Asisiwa, police observed that sections of the road had been blocked with lorry tires, while 2 bent motorbikes were found abandoned. At the outskirts of the town, 2 male adults found dead with multiple cutlass wounds. The bodies were conveyed to the Jache Pramso Government Hospital mortuary for preservation and autopsy. At Brodikwano, a Sprinter bus was also found completely bent. Preliminary information suggests that the violence stemmed from a dispute involving a young man from Isisriwa allegedly cohabiting with young lady from Brodikwano without parental consent, which escalated into retaliatory attacks. Well, that's all we have for you. For more news, go to www.metrotvonline.com. My name is Natasha Jamara. Good Afternoon Ghana still continues. We'll take a short break.
Hello, my friends. My name is Calkit Toothpaste.
Wow.
I was made to be gentle on your gum, but protected. I will protect your teeth from cavity, make your teeth whiter, stronger, keep your mouth fresh all day. And best of all, I'm strawberry flavored. So put on a smile and try me.
That's amazing.
Just try me. That's my job.
If you say so, jump on my brush. Makes your teeth stronger, chicky whiter, chicky stronger. Yay! You did it!
I'm glad you like your new toothpaste. Don't forget to brush both day and night.
Calkits, happy smile.
Finding the ideal property shouldn't be a daunting task. At MNC Properties, we believe everyone deserves a place to call home. That's why we specialize in providing affordable housing options under our flagship project, Fresh Property Joy, specifically designed for low and medium income earners. Our range of customizable homes includes 2 and 3 bedroom standard and executive options, all meticulously crafted using innovative interlocking brick technology. We understand the importance of simplicity and convenience in the acquisition process. That's why we have designed our procedures to be straightforward and hassle-free, offering flexible payment options tailored to your individual needs. In addition to our affordable homes, we proudly offer litigation-free lands for sale in vibrant and upscale communities that present the perfect opportunity to build your dream home. We are committed to making affordable housing a reality, providing you with the joy of owning a home that meets your budgets and aspirations. Whether you're looking to buy, rent, or invest, we've got you covered. Our service team is ready to assist you on 030-255-1917. MNC Properties, choice of class.
Hey, Bunty, why you there? Wallahi, today you go give me my money.
Oh, my guy, what's up? Oba un 17 and baby. Scan on ASA. 500 cities per. Ah.
I see. Level don't change. But to show me the way.
But there's some sorry, Manua. Talk to babe.
¿Quieres ganar dinero?
Huh?
Cash.
Yes, cash.
Let me show you the easy way to make money with OneChat.
Visit the WannaOwn website at wannaown.us. Sign up with your phone number and get ready to play. Select games on the homepage and then select One Shot Game. Deposit to make an entry, then pick a number from 0 to 99. If your number comes up, you win a cool 500 cities.
Hey, so it'll be easy like that.
Just like that.
So I'll go buy my dream car.
Por supuesto. Just visit wannaown.us and win some cool cash prizes.
Gbemi.
Boom!
You be too much.
Play responsibly. Gaming can be addictive. Accredited and endorsed by the Gaming Commission of Ghana.
Hello there, it's Friday, the 10th of April 2026, and you're welcome to Good Afternoon Ghana here on Metro Television. My name is Desmond Okwekudanso, and we are coming to you live from Akuya Boima Studios here at Northridge in Accra. Thank you so much for joining us here. On the program, we'll wrap up at 2, as always, and the program is live on Facebook at Metro TV Ghana. Also on YouTube, Metro TV Ghana, you can join us live on there and be a part of the show. Today's conversation is primarily going to be about the cabinet meeting that was held yesterday on the fuel prices spike. A number of things came out from that particular meeting. We'll delve into all of that to understand what exactly those actions would mean for the ordinary Ghanaian. And so let's take a look at some of the outcomes from yesterday's meeting as the president held an emergency meeting with his cabinet, and that was over crude oil prices due to the conflict in the Middle East. That is what has been mentioned as the reason for the spike in the fuel prices. Now, the meeting sought to find ways and other means to ensure that Ghanaians are not directly affected by this particular situation where we're having increases in global crude oil prices due to the war between Iran and Israel and the USA. So let's take a look at some of the outcomes from the meeting. Right, so you see there the outcome of emergency cabinet session on fuel price. 1, Ministers of Finance and Energy directed by cabinet to ensure a reduction in fuel price in the next pricing window through the suspension of some taxes and margins set, and also taxes and margins to be announced, and that is at next week's pricing window. And yesterday, the Minister for Government Communications, Felix Kwatsofosu, mentioned that the next pricing window is in just a few days. So we'll wait for that. This is to last for 4 weeks and subject to review based on evolving situation in the Middle East conflict and movements in crude oil prices. 2, Minister for Transport, that is Joseph Bukari Nikpe, has been directed to ensure expedited deployment of recently acquired 100 Metro Mass transit buses in addition to the existing ones on high traffic corridors, and ensure maintenance of lower transport fares on those buses than what private operators charge. Also, all ministers and senior government appointees are to adhere strictly to the President's directive on cancellation on fuel allocations and allowances. Right, so those are the outcomes from yesterday's meeting that was held between the president and, of course, the cabinet members. And we're going to get onto the phone or Zoom now and speak to Duncan Amoah. He is the executive director of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC, and he joins us via phone. Mr. Amoah, thank you very much for your time this afternoon here. Well, the meeting has been held. The outcomes, you think it's good for us?
Thank you for having me, and good afternoon to your viewers.
Right, I'm asking that yesterday's meeting, we've all seen the outcome. In fact, I just read them out. You think those are good measures that would mitigate any chances of increases?
Very good recommendation from Cabinet yesterday. And indeed, when we met with Mr. President about 2 weeks ago, he was clear that something of that nature would happen, and that he was also concerned about rising cost of fuel in country. And so for us, it wasn't surprising to see those recommendations come out from Cabinet yesterday. As to how much taxes we can reduce now to give relief to consumers, I do think that we could but only do as much. I am just in the process of putting out a paper talking of the streams of taxes that we think realistically could be tweaked a bit. The state would not need to throw away everything, but the state could give out something for the next 1 month, as the president has recommended, whilst retaining a part of those levies so that it still gets some money to run its developmental agenda, but the consumer would also save some money in our pocket, so that we are also a bit easier as far as the geopolitical forces and the pressures that comes with fuel pricing is concerned. So very well, what happened yesterday is welcomed, is well accepted. The other bit that we found missing has to do with improving of our resiliences or buffers as a country.
Okay.
If you take out all taxes, even on petroleum products today, and you don't build your buffers, chances are that prices could escalate tomorrow due to the same conflict or other geopolitical factors, and that would mean that, again, prices would still have to go up at the Ghanaian pumps. The issue of building your resilience is you are looking at, one, the Tema Oil refinery and other refineries locally. Sentuo, Akwaba, Platon, the need for the state to be deliberate about equipping them so that they are able to take out a larger chunk of our petroleum importation from Europe. If you are able to retool TOR and able to invest properly or strategically, so that TOR can put out products that are as good as what the BDCs are importing from Europe, you are simply saving Ghana another day of trouble when products don't come from the international markets, because then all you would need is the crude. Ghana already is producing crude. And so if you tilted your liftings that you make from the Jubilee fields, the 10 fields, and other fields towards your refining locally, you could be able to save the Ghanaian in a more comprehensive manner. Further, you are also looking at the situation where even in the discourses of taxes now, we should be thinking about getting a certain strategic stock levy on the price build-up, so that anytime I buy fuel, some 10 pesos or 20 pesos can go to BOST to store products when prices are favorable, so that tomorrow, if I wake up and prices have hit 20 or 30 Ghana cedis a liter, BOST could safely step in and say, look, we bought products when it was 12 or 15. We can still cushion you at the same 15 or 16 level, so that you don't need to pay 20 or 30 per liter. Those resiliences we found missing yesterday, but overall, at least, it's been a sign of a government that understands the exigencies of the time and is working towards giving all of us some reliefs. That is welcome.
Right. In the directive to the energy minister and that is on the next pricing window that we're going to have in the next few days. How quick do you think that a decision could be made to be able to make sure that the fuel prices don't go high?
I do not think that these decisions would have to take us days. Already the price build-up is something that we all know. There's fixed. The components of the price build-up are components known to industry, known to civil society, known to government, and for that matter, the ministries are so concerned. If there's the willingness to do anything about that, it could take maybe by Monday, Tuesday, to come to a firm decision on what components exactly to touch, which ones not to touch. But we are also making a recommendation paper to put in what we think is sustainable at this point, what might not be sustainable. Ghanaians have largely looked at the situation where we take out the entire 1 Ghana cedi Dumso levy that was introduced last year. We would differ slightly. A part of it can go whilst you retain a part, so that if you need to still be able to buy the fuel, the light crude oil to power your power plants, we should be able to balance such that we don't take out everything and one part suffers, you get home, there's no light. Meanwhile, when you go to the pumps, it's a bit easier on your pocket. I do not think that is what Ghanaians are asking for. So we are putting recommendation papers also together. We'll meet with the 2 ministries concerned and share whatever we think we find sustainable with them for consideration.
Right. So these levies that we have are to rake in some money for us, and now with the directive to take some off, how do we compensate for the revenue loss there?
You see, revenue gain to government is revenue loss to the people, and revenue loss to government is revenue gain to the people. It's a chicken and egg situation. Do I, at this point, think that I should leave some revenue with my people because they are struggling? I mean, fuel prices could alone derail the economic gains that we have chalked together as a country the past 15 months. Or I would rather think about what I gain as a government and let the people suffer or bear the consequence. It's a difficult decision, but one has got to be made. And I think that the government is making the right decision. It would lose some revenue, yes, admittedly. But if that is so such that the economy is not thrown overboard, you don't find inflation creeping back, you don't find the forex, the foreign exchange misaligning, because currently, Bank of Ghana, excellent job. But if you leave the fuel situation alone to compound, you would find the cedi rising gradually to catch up with the fuel prices at some point, because importation of fuel to Ghana is largely in dollars and not the cedi. So anytime fuel prices are rising, you are simply looking at your cedi also rising or losing value to the dollar, so that something, balances. And I think that government has made the right call. It will lose some revenue, but that would also be good for the Ghanaian to gain some minimum revenues in their own pockets and their own expenditure, such that the economy still balances for everybody overall. Don't forget again, government may be losing revenue downstream, but on the upstream, where we also produce crude oil and exports, instead of the $68, $72 we projected, it's currently a little under $100. That's some revenue gain, and I think that government is making the right call on this one.
Right, and for the other outcome of this meeting, where government officials have been asked to strictly adhere to the no fuel allocations and allowances, how does this help? Can you break that down for us?
Well, I do think, just like many other Ghanaians subscribe to, that government appointments should not be a pathway to freebies. You don't take appointments and suddenly the individual that used to buy fuel into his Camry or his Land Cruiser or Prado or any other means of mobility is now saying that I cannot afford to buy fuel because today I'm a minister or a government appointee. And so government will have to provide free fuel at all material times. I think that is a right decision. There should come a time that you should even encourage appointees to come in with their own vehicles. You may provide for some maintenance allowance and some bits of fuel allowances here and there. But where we buy the vehicles, we service the vehicles, we pay for fuel. Look, we are living as Arabian kings in a country that clearly is economically not that sound. And so I think that decision again by government is so sound that if succeeding governments would only follow suit, we may be getting to a point where we are not only appointing people to become kings or lords or to become people whose incomes cannot even buy fuel for themselves. I think that for us, we support that move by Mr. President entirely.
Right. So let's just say that the war that is happening continues and there is still the prices of crude oil, they are up. After this 1 month or 4 weeks window, what should the government do? I know you've talked about TOR and all of that, but what should be the concrete steps to make sure that we are able to put ourselves together as a country, that even though there may be issues as we're facing now, for us, as it hits us, it will be very, very minimal?
For a start, I do not subscribe to any thinking that the government should even wait for another 4 weeks to start planning on building its own resiliences or buffers. The government should start as early as yesterday, thinking of storing products. I have said this time without number. When the war began, we had a lot of products idling at the offshore Lomé enclave, right? A lot of products. Vessels that came in, off-takers were not ready, or discharge notices were not ready and were probably waiting. We should have seen the signs on the wall and gone in for those products because prices at the time were favorable and better. When we fail to plan, the people pay for it eventually at the pumps. And so I think that government would need to plan ahead. And planning ahead means that starting yesterday or today, because tomorrow will be later than today. Plan. Get as much as you can for BOS to get in products. Keep national security eyes on there. Ensure that people are not stealing the product. You need to step in as a government. The next intervention you make will not have to be just taxes, but could equally be that I bought product, I stored product, I have some, I can maintain prices for you at 17 or 16. We don't need to go to 20 or 30 another day because government would have made some planning for you and I already. And that is what I'm thinking was missing yesterday. But overall, everything else that cabinet did agree on yesterday, we agree with them. The only thing that we would ask the two ministries concerned to take a further look at is to ensure that we get some strategic reserves immediately to ensure that if we wake up and God forbid, things are going from bad to worse, the Ghanaian is not now going to be asked to come and pay even more than we were paying at the time that the taxes were scaled down on. So comprehensive planning, you need to stock up, you need to get strategic reserve margins in place as soon as immediate and ensure that wherever you can get cargo, that comes in a bit cheaper so that your people are not forced to pay way more at the pumps in subsequent weeks. Government should also focus on that going forward.
Right. Thank you so much for your time this afternoon on Good Afternoon Ghana. You heard from Duncan Amoah. He's Executive Director for the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC, and he says that the decision from government is right. And we're going to stay on this. Very soon we'll speak to Collins Adomako-Mensah. He's a member of parliament on the minority side, and he's been talking about what's been happening for a while. We'll get to him, but Benjamin Insah joins us on Zoom now. He's the Executive Director of the Center for Environmental Management and Energy. He joins us via Zoom, so we get to hear his thoughts also on the outcomes from that emergency cabinet meeting that took place yesterday and the outcomes as we've seen there. Benjamin Insah is joining us on Zoom now. Hello, Mr. Insah, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Great. Many thanks for joining us. My first question would be, what are the implications, the macroeconomic implications of these temporary cuts?
So first of all, I think that I couldn't hear Duncan, but I think that implementation of these tax cuts will be very problematic because there are certain barriers that were not addressed in the announcement. These taxes were introduced on the build-up through an act of parliament. Special petroleum tax came into being because of 879 with subsequent amendment 965. Energy Sector Levy Act came into being through 899 with subsequent amendment 1141 in 2025. So if you are going to suspend, scrap, or have any of the tax or levies on the margin, I think that Parliament must review these acts or amend these acts for effective implementation. So that is a barrier. The second part is that the time frame within which this was communicated is too short for the OMCs to be able to implement these policies. 4 days, some of them have already procured products for the second window, and they paid for the taxes that we are talking about. They paid the taxes. Companies like Star Oil, Zem Petroleum, Akara Energy have paid for the taxes for the second window. So there must also be a communique to assure them of tax refunds before they will be able to implement it, because there's not the assurance they will not implement it because they paid. But there's tax payment or forward payment of these taxes. Now, beyond that, let's look at the revenue measures as you asked, whether it's going to affect our macroeconomic indicators. It depends on how much government takes off the build-up, because as we speak, we have energy sector shortfall and dairy payment levy. That is the highest on the build-up, 1 Ghana is 95 pesos per litre on petrol, 1 Ghana is 93 pesos on diesel, and 1 Ghana is 73 pesos on LPG. Now, being it the highest, government, the projected revenue for that particular shortfall levy is 11.9, almost 12 billion Ghana cedis. So if government decides to have it and says, okay, I'm scrapping maybe 1 Ghana cedi, I'm scrapping maybe 95 pesos per litre on all these products, it means that our revenues for the sector shortfall is likely going to accrue about 7 or maybe 6.8 billion Ghana cedis. Now, the good thing is that Ghana also produces oil, and Ghana is projected to sell their oil at $76 per barrel. But today on the international market, oil is doing average of $100 per barrel. So Ghana is getting a surplus or a windfall of about $24 per barrel. In the Ministry of Finance own simulations, I think simulation 5 or so, they simulated that when the price of crude surges to $100 per barrel, they're expecting an additional revenue of 7.2 billion Ghana cedis. So when you cut even 1 Ghana cedi off the bill, that means that you are still getting additional revenue from your oil proceeds to balance what you cut at the downstream, and still you don't make losses. So I don't think that any cut will cause a lot of fiscal deficit or will cause a lot of revenue shortfall, because already we are making a windfall. And I think that any decision government is going to take, the decision must be taken in
Hello, Benjamin. Okay, so I think we've lost Benjamin Isiah there. He was making a point as to the implications of this temporary cut to the macroeconomic base of our economy. And really, he mentioned a few things earlier in a submission about the temporary cut of these levies and taxes that they were brought or they came in through Parliament. And so if there's going to be any suspension of that sort, it should go through Parliament. So we also know that Parliament is on recess now, and so that's quite an interesting one, that when we get Collins Adomako-Mensah on, he's the Member of Parliament for the Efija Kwabre North constituency. We would get to him and ask him on that. Also, if you just tune in, this is Good Afternoon Ghana on Metro TV with me, Desmond Okreku. And we're talking about yesterday's cabinet meeting, emergency cabinet meeting, where the president met members of cabinet on the issues of the increasing prices of crude oil on the world market and how it's going to affect us, and of course the outcomes I mentioned to you earlier. We have the Member of Parliament for Efija Kwabre North constituency joining us, Collins Adomako-Mensah. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. So the president called for an emergency meeting. The outcomes are here. You've seen them. Do you think those are good measures?
Well, first of all, good afternoon to yourself and to your viewers. Any measure or any attempt to bring some respite to the Ghanaian people is welcomed. And so, in that light, I want to say thanks to the government for at least listening to the Ghanaian people. We had made that call 3 weeks ago. And I heard other well-meaning Ghanaians also speaking same and saying that government should take a second look at some of the taxes and levies on the petroleum products. So I'm happy that government has listened. Secondly, we were not told of the specifics as to which specific tax or levy will be suspended. We're told that the finance minister and energy minister will be briefing us on those specifics. When that is done, we can have more detailed discussion as to how far that suspension can go. Government for at least listening to the minorities call, although we think it's a little bit too late.
You think it's too late?
Absolutely. We 3 weeks ago had a press conference, and then we sounded this alarm because we're very clear in our mind that what was happening on the international markets will mean that prices were going to go up. So we're hoping that government would have taken that decision some 3 weeks ago. In fact, I would have been happy if that decision was taken before the last pricing window. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. But as I said, better late than never. I'm happy that some announcement has been made, and I think we are going to get some respite.
And as government tries to make sure that Ghanaians are not hit hard by what's happening in the other parts of the world and taking off some of these levies, I was asking earlier that these levies and taxes were brought in to rake in money for the government. If they're going to be suspended, then it means that the government is going to be losing some monies from there. Do you think, apart from that, there was any other way that could have been used to mitigate this issue?
The government should also be telling us how much they've raked in on the basis of the increase on the international market. Don't forget that Ghana is a net exporter of crude oil. We also export crude oil.
Right.
In the budget, I think on page 100 or so, government indicated that they project that oil prices will be at $76.2. As we speak now, prices have gone as far as over $100, now hovering around $97. What that means is that government is going to make or rake in some unexpected revenue, which was not anticipated. What that means is that government is also going to make a lot more money from the export of crude oil. If you take out some of the taxes, which we are requesting, which government is also announcing to do in the next 2 weeks or so, what that means is that that particular hole that has been created by the suspension can be filled by the additional revenue that has come to government on the basis of the increment of crude prices on the world market.
Okay, and on that notice, this is supposed to be for a month or at least 4 weeks. If this continues, if the prices on the world market continue to be on a high after this 4-week period, then there needs to be much more concrete measures to help with this situation.
Well, in the medium to long term, I've listened to Mr. Duncan Amoah and other players in the industry. Government should have the strong hold of our reserve stock. I think we need to look at the operations of BOST, which was originally set up to be a strategic reserve. It would have been beautiful if, with all that is going on, government itself had some strategic reserve, which they bought at a certain price. I'm sure government would have cushioned the Ghanaian people with that reserve. So in the medium to long term, government should focus its attention on the operations of BOST and also on TOR. I'm happy that TOR is working gradually, which I think they need more investment to be fully operational. It would be nice if TOR is working, Central is working, and all the other players are working. In the medium to long term, I'm sure we'll be more resilient than we are now.
How confident are you that these benefits will reach ordinary Ghanaians?
It should. I mean, at this particular point in time, if fuel is selling at 16 and government takes off the 1 Ghana cedi, it will come to 15. Any amount of money or any reduction that will cause any suspension or taking off of tax that will cause a reduction at the pump is welcomed. I'm not too sure of how much of that will be a relief because we are not too sure of the specific taxes and levies that will be suspended, which is yet to be announced. But at this point in time, any amount that is taken off or any suspension that will lead to a reduction at the pump is welcomed.
Right. The other outcome from this meeting is the reiteration that government appointees should adhere to the directive of not having fuel coupons, and all of those things and allowances. You think it's a meaningful one? Is it going to have any, effect?
I mean, the reminder by the minister himself is clear to me that I'm not too sure if government appointees were adhering to the initial directive. I mean, if they were, why were you reminding them of that? And it is clear to me that the officers of government were not adhering to the president directive, and that's how come, as part of the measures, government had to announce a reminder of an earlier instruction given by the president. That is quite telling, but I'm not too sure that is quite significant in the sense. I was happy when I saw new buses. I was hoping they were going to be EV buses, but I'm told they are still diesel buses. Diesel is now selling at 17. So if we bring in buses and then I'm going to use the same diesel which is selling at 17, I'm not too sure of the effect. I think it's also an important point that as these things occur, government refocus its attention to other areas like going green. Already, as you recall, during our time, we brought in some 10 EV buses. I'm told there was no money to continue, but government has found money to bring in new buses, diesel buses. I'm sure if it was a priority, government could have brought in new EV buses. So when things like this happen, it helps shift the focus. And I think now government can also refocus its attention and bringing in more EV buses, which may not necessarily need this liquid fuel. And so anytime there are crises, we are not hit so hard.
Well, before we wrap up on this conversation, any other advice or measure that you'd want the government to implement as they try to mitigate the...
At this point, I think government should focus its attention on fueling or as it were, putting more pressure and giving financial support to TOR and BOST for them to be our strategic anchor in terms of such crisis of this nature. But in the short term, I think the relief that have been announced is quite refreshing. It is my hope that when the specifics are brought up, it will include the 1 Ghana cedi that we have fought for its removal all these years.
Right. Thank you very much for your time this afternoon. Collins Adumako Mensah is a former Deputy Energy Minister and Member of Parliament for Efija Kwabre North Constituency, helping us understand, what he makes of the decisions from yesterday's emergency cabinet meeting. Earlier, we were speaking to Benjamin Isia. We lost him there. And so we're going to get into other conversations, but definitely keeping tabs on this as we will be looking forward to our presidential correspondent, Shadrach Odami-Ejare, if anything comes up from the presidency on this particular issue. And we're going to get into a conversation that has been ongoing. Yesterday, we also touched on that, and that's on the National Road Safety Authority's Technical Working Committee's report on the Toyota Voxy vehicles being used for commercial transport. Now, as the news travels, there seems to be a bit of a misinformation that there is a ban. And so we want to engage, that is Dr. Godwin Kafui Ayeto. He's the chair for the committee that actually did that research, and he will be speaking to him very soon. But let's take a look at this report. When we come back, we talk to Dr. Ayeto.
The Public Relations Officer of the National Road Safety Authority in Bono Region, Kwame Ochre, has strongly criticized sections of the media for misrepresenting recommendations from a recently submitted committee report. Speaking to media, he explained that about 2 months ago, the authority constituted a committee to investigate accidents involving Voxy vehicles on Ghana's roads. The committee has since submitted its report, and one of its recommendations suggests a ban on Toyota Voxy vehicles for long-distance commercial use. He indicated that the decision-making process will involve the Ministry of Transport, transport unions such as the Ghana Private Road Transport Union, drivers of vehicles, the Driver and Vehicle Licensing Authority, and the Customs Division.
It's advisable that as importers, we sit down with the relevant stakeholders and ensure that we don't import right-hand vehicles into the country anymore. So currently, we have quite a number of Voxy in the country. In the year 2025 alone, the Customs Division recorded more than 7,000 Voxy vehicles being imported into the country, and not more than 8,000. So between 7,000 and then 8,000. There are quite a lot in the country. Those of us who are already using them for commercial purposes, we will plead with the drivers to ensure that they reduce their speeds where appropriate, especially on the highways in entering settlements and then also in an urban settlement.
Ochre also pointed to existing laws governing vehicle imports, explaining that right-hand drive vehicles are prohibited in Ghana under the Customs Act 2015, Section 5(8). He stressed that stricter enforcement at the importation stage could help prevent the proliferation of such vehicles in the country. According to him, between
now, Dr. Godwin Ayeto joins us. Good afternoon, sir. Thank you for joining us. Of course, this report has become the talk, but really, let's do that clarification from you as you led this committee that there is not a ban on the use of Toyota Voxy vehicles for commercial purposes for now. It is a recommendation. Is that it?
Yes. So the committee presented its finished work to the National Road Safety Authority that commissioned the technical working group. And I understand the National Road Safety Authority and other stakeholders are yet to meet to decide on the recommendations. Yeah.
Okay, right. So stakeholders, including the GPRT and all others, believe that they should have been involved in this research. Were they? Did you or do you agree with that? Let me just put it that way.
Oh yes, it's a technical working group, more like for fact finding and recommendations, and it requires that we visit all stakeholders involved. So it wasn't to get opinions, it was to ascertain the facts. So for example, we did a field study. We went to the field. We went to observe how the vehicles are converted. We spoke to the converters to verify their qualifications, their training backgrounds, and how long they've been doing this. We also spoke to drivers of the vehicles. We went to almost all the stations we could go to where they load passengers. We interviewed passengers, we interviewed station masters. We also communicated with the manufacturer of the vehicles, and we also perused the laws and regulations. So what we have in that document are facts and evidence, with recommendations that the agencies will have to look at and decide on what to do.
Right. My next question will be the basic one, that why was this research done?
Okay, so according to the terms of reference that we received, the National Road Safety Authority was petitioned by various stakeholders to investigate the Toyota Voxy because it's presumed that they were involved in many crashes, and that they feel like the vehicle, there were inherent flaws in the vehicle that could have caused that. So we were, in our scope, we were asked to find out whether the right-hand to drive, left-hand drive conversions has any influence on vehicle accidents. We were also to find out whether the Toyota Voxy vehicle itself is technically sound for commercial travel. So we base all our work based on this scope. I hear many people saying, why did we just focus on Voxy and not other vehicles? That was our terms of reference. if you read the report, we also mentioned that there are numerous challenges and that the Toyota Voxy issue itself is just a tip of the iceberg.
In your findings also, where we breach the conversation as to who is at fault when it comes to these vehicles being engaged in accidents, is it the car or the one handling the car? That's a lot of questions that many people are asking.
Okay, so if you read the report, we said that it was difficult to blame one scenario for the issue. I'm going to give you some reasons. So, for example, when we checked the in terms of regulations, when we checked the Customs Act, Act 891, Section 58, we realized that our laws does not permit into the country right-hand drive vehicles.
Right.
So the question will be, why are they here? That's the first question. Now, once they are here, they are converted. Now, we try to find out, are there standards for the conversion? There were no standards for the conversion. Is the conversion regulated? And if regulated, is it enforced? We realized that there were regulations, National Road Safety Authority has the mandate to enforce its regulation by registering mechanics, garages, and all these things. They had not registered a single one of them. So it was a free-for-all approach. And there were the various degrees of the conversions. Now, in terms of registration, should these vehicles have been registered? No, they should not have been registered. They were supposed, the Act does not allow registration of converted vehicles or right-hand drive vehicles. So during testing at the DVLE, this should have been detected. The vehicles are not roadworthy after their conversion. Indeed, we communicated with the manufacturer from Japan, and a written communication from the manufacturer indicated that they did not endorse the conversions. Even when we asked whether they could help in training people to do the conversions, they refused. We even asked whether we could bring people to Japan to be trained in the conversions because there's a massive usage of them in Ghana. They refused, and we asked for the reason, and they say there is no way they can train anybody to do that conversion safely, and so they forbid that. They also said the vehicles were designed for young families and not for commercial transport. That is why they fitted the vehicles with passenger tires. The ground clearance is very low. They are not designed to be that durable for those kind of commercial activities and the frequency of use. And so that was why we recommended that. If you look at another fault we found was with the Motor Traffic and Transport Department.
Okay.
Clearly, most of the Voxy vehicles have registered white plates, which means they were not meant for. A lot of them did not even register that they were going to use the vehicles for commercial practices. But if you go to the loading stations and all that, you have Voxys lined up with white plates carrying passengers across the breadth of the country without being stopped on the road at any place in time. It means their insurance is also private insurance, and probably the passengers there are not covered. So we noticed a lot of infractions from various sectors, and it is very difficult to just blame one agency for this. It's more of a systemic breakdown, and I have to state clearly that the Voxy vehicle is not the only victim that we found. There were so many issues we have captured in the report and have even advised for a broader study, but our mandate was for the Toyota Voxy vehicles, and our report was based on that.
Doc, what the research that was done, what's the data like?
Okay, the data. In terms of the data, more than 7,000 VOSI vehicles, total VOSI vehicles, had been registered between 2025 and now. And within the 2 months alone, if you look at the statistics, it's like 1,000 VOSI vehicles being registered every month. Okay. And what makes the Toyota VOSI vehicle a bit serious is that it's displacing a lot of vehicles in the market. It's being used, for example, it can serve as private use.
Yes.
It can serve for ride hailing. It can displace minivans. It can displace buses. And so, unlike the VIT was also being converted. Unlike the VIT, the patronage is extremely high.
Okay.
Yes, and the price is quite low. The main reason for its proliferation is basically the economics.
Right. Doc, we have a few minutes to go. Let me just ask two questions. So the other question is that you mentioned that it could also be used for private use. So
yes,
are we saying that for the commercial purposes, because if someone is doing for private use, the person can also travel a distance, right? And so is there a problem with that also? And that it means that all of such vehicles on the market are not lawful to be used, because commercial will travel, private use can also travel to another place with a family. Is this still a problem with that?
Yeah, actually, our recommendation was that with immediate effect, the authorities should not allow those vehicles for commercial purposes for long distance travel because of the number of people involved. The safety risk is just too much.
But what about the private?
The private, yes. So we asked that they issue a public advisory to the members of the public to know the risk with the use of that vehicle for private purposes. But we did not recommend that even for private use they stop it. What we recommended was that they should stop the import of right-hand drive vehicles into the country. That will permanently solve the problem. If they are not coming in, there's not going to be any conversions. The problem we have now is how to deal with the vehicles that are already in the country, and that has to be managed very well, not so that it does not create an uproar. So because of the safety risk, we said for commercial purposes, the manufacturer has stated that it shouldn't be used for that, and so that one, there's enough justification for that. The rest is for the public to be advised and know how to use it privately.
So for the over 7,000 that have been registered and people using them for commercial purposes, it's already in the system. How do we solve that? Is it going to be more education for the drivers, because the GPRT is not happy about that?
Yes, we spoke to a number of the drivers, a number of the owners, and I can tell you they know the safety issues with the car. They are just not willing to say it in public. A lot of the survey that we did and the information we released means that they also have issues with the car. But the problem is that there's been so many infractions, they've been brought in. People have invested so much money. There are more than 4,000 VOXI vehicles on the way to Ghana now. And so we have to find a way of managing it so that they don't create an uproar. That is why we say for now, those in the country, they should manage it and use it privately. And we have also recommended that DVLA and NRSA should set up centers that these vehicles can be brought to for further scrutiny, so that if there are any issues, they can be fixed. And so, but permanently to solve this, the vehicles have to stop coming into the country.
Right. How long did it take for the research to be done?
I would say 1 month.
A month?
Yes.
Okay, and it covered across the country?
Not everywhere, but for example, if you go to if you are loading to Takoradi from Accra, you don't need to go to Takoradi and Accra. We go to the Accra stations.
Okay.
We were in Accra, we were in Kumasi, we were in the Bono region because that's where most of the accidents happened. We were on that stretch.
Okay.
Wa and Bolga, etc.
Right. Dr. Ayeto, thank you so much for speaking to us this afternoon. So there you had from, that is Dr. Godwin Kafui Ayeto, the chair for the Technical Working Committee that worked on this report on the Toyota Voxy. So he says that there's not been a ban. He says that the use of the vehicles for commercial purposes is what they've described as unlawful in their report that they've submitted to the National Road Safety Authority. Right, so this is where we wrap up on the show for today. Many thanks for joining us here on Good Afternoon, Ghana. My name is Desmond Okrekudan. So for more news, log on to our website, www.metrotvonline.com. Have a great weekend. We're back on a Monday. Bye.
In the month of March and April 2026, all roads lead to Denu. Join the Denu Ngoyiza 2026 Planning Committee in collaboration with Metro TV for an exciting celebration of culture, unity, and renewal. Venue, Denu Swansea Beach and selected locations, Ketu South. Date from 19th March to 12th April 2026. Theme, One People, One Hope, celebrating life, culture, and renewal of hope. Official activities for Denu Ngoyiza 2026. Thursday, 19th March 2026, official launch of the festival alongside JHS quiz competition. Friday, 20th March 2026, SHS quiz competition. Saturday, 28th March 2026, Ngoyiza skills training. Monday, 6th April 2026, Beyond the High Talk Shop. Thursday, 9th April 2026, Ngoyiza Trash to Change and Donation Drive. Friday, 10th April 2026, Ngoyiza Health Screening, Games and Cultural Night. Saturday, 11th April 2026, Ngoyiza Step First Walk, Carnival and Cooking Competition. Sunday, 12th April 2026, Ngoyiza Ocean Pulse and Wave Fest, Picnic, Fun Games, Artist Night, Art Exhibitions, Food and Drink Fair.
I saw the thing going. Yo, I'm going hard for the money. Now my dev van go my bang. Vibe I don't put my trailer, my toe, my uta, my blend.
Hey, Banty, why you there? What lie tell you today go give me my money?
Oh, my guy, what's up? Oba unse me didn't and baby. Scan on ASA 500 cities per. Ah.
I see. Level don't change. But to show me the way.
But there's some sorry, Amanua. Talk to babe.
Here is Ghana dinero.
Huh?
Cash.
Yes, cash.
Let me show you the easy way to make money with One Shot. Visit the WannaOwn website at wannaown.us. Sign up with your phone number and get ready to play. Select games on the homepage and then select One Shot Game. Deposit to make an entry, then pick a number from 0 to 99. If your number comes up, you win a cool 500 cities.
Hey,
So it'll be easy like that.
Just like that.
So I'll go buy my dream car.
Por supuesto. Just visit wannaown.us and win some cool cash prizes.
Baby,
Boom!
You be too much.
Play responsibly. Gaming can be addictive. Accredited and endorsed by the Gaming Commission of Ghana.
On a regular weekend, the half-mile stretch of road that leads from some of Accra's iconic landmarks like the Usher Fort, Lighthouse and the Jamestown Manchester Palace runs westward over the Korle Lagoon, gets very busy with vehicular traffic carrying people and goods to the Korle Gonno community and beyond. Korle Gonno is a community predominantly occupied by girls. Korle Gonno has been growing rapidly into one of the city's bustling suburbs with its share of residential and commercial properties, including hotels, lorry parks, markets, drinking spots and schools. Even Ghana's premier health facility, the Kolebu Teaching Hospital, is located in the precincts of Korle Gonno. What has, however, been a blot to the image of Korle Gonno is the Lavender Hill, where untreated fecal waste is discharged directly into the sea.
2-3 years ago, the government sought out that they have to take it out from that place. So the new control plan should be located somewhere. So they sought out the area and they found that it should be behind the Korle Lagoon, just close to this fire service station. If you look at the volume of the work that I would say the toilet you have been taken from outside there, if that thing is sent down there, it could be good because they even intend to use this as fertilizers and some other things which will benefit people. It's what we want the government to help us so that I can live very happily in the community.
In just about 3 minutes, 5 vehicles arrived at the Lavender Hill to empty their bellies into the Atlantic Ocean. History shows that Lavender Hill has existed for more than 100 years, dating back to colonial era. Its negative impact on the environment notwithstanding, Lavender Hill has provided jobs for many young people in and around Korle Gonno.
Yeah, no be school no fear no one fine nearby your head.
No, na ke fit mo area wealth no me be e fa atun ti bi ane akeko njeteshi labadi kasua awonshi nuwa dio greater Accra bi akeba bi ene no na feed me over 4,000.
The famed Lavender Hill faces a decommissioning in the month of November 2016, and Pastor Daniel Lamte, the leader of the Greater Accra Liquid Waste Association, shares some concerns.
Kasharebuti. Nibia ne hwe kasharebuti e. Nimodromo na union any obi e ne abacha wa as drivers union na ke wa ko. New associations we bani sani woba under them woba te. Nu wo tie wona wole ake association na egbaji environmental service providers. Nu wo hyeje me amebi wo ni gba wona. Nimodromo na wo ke ma me hin aka wo. Wo be goods dumping site. Agbane hu enu wo dump oye wo ties in kula ko ba no pash ko ba no NFD ni ngodromo na the president of the association Niji Espa eke o we ba kwebo ni ba fe e wo as a chairman ye no ni mu abache mi ako
project any atawa afi project wo ababa commission wo nyumo dromo na ma bi figure ni trips abonu wo na daily na akekwe no na akefe wo capacity is more than 100 trips a day ni car ko me fen car ko me is about 18,000 liters 13,000 liters 9,000 liters 7,000 liters bibliography ni o me is about 3,500 liters yeah wo problem penny water wo ni wo wi di akeshi wo sumo na ba ka je wo bi eni akoba ayiko ni 3 days 1 month 2 months penny efite da bi wo le wo ba pene.
It is on record at the World Bank office that between 150 to 200 trucks of various sizes discharge into the Lavender Hill daily. Harold Iseko, a World Bank consultant on water and sanitation, speaks on the Lavender Hill.
As a country, we need to put in the measures so we don't go back there. One important thing about the previous 3 treatment plants we had in Accra metropolis, they were not functional. Why? Because of the operation and management issues. If we have a new treatment plant, we have to ensure that the operation and maintenance regime which is put in place is actually well managed, and the financing mechanism has to be clear. We know that all the trucks dump directly into the sea at a fee. So that is a good mechanism for cost recovery. If we have a situation where the city will have to top up, or the Ministry of Local Government will have to top up for what is being done under management, we must ensure that those payments are made. People defecate every day. The waste streams are flowing constantly. If you have a problem and you do not pay for something, in no time at all, you have the machine or the treatment system going out of service. To this end, I think we need to engage the services of qualified professionals to manage these facilities. We should ensure that it doesn't remain on paper. We maintain the facility. Those who are supposed to provide the service, if payments are supposed to be made, payments are made regularly and on time so that they don't say they are not going to work. If we do that, we will have another challenge on our hands and the problem will come back.
So we had the menace of the famous Lavender Hill, which was all over, even on the internet. So to tackle the liquid aspect, Sewage Systems Ghana Limited was also established so that we would decommission the Lavender Hill and rehabilitate the Mudo. The Mudo plant handles the underground sewer lines that are connected from Osu and some parts of the State House. Now we also have homes that have septic tanks that needed to be suctioned by cesspit trucks. These trucks need to discharge. Because there is no plant presently that takes these trucks, they just dump into the sea.
The government of the Netherlands has over the years supported Ghana's water and sanitation projects.
The ultimate example of waste is not only waste, waste can also be money. And once that people start understanding that and use technology, for which of course the first investment is made available by the Netherlands, it's by Dutch money, then of course you have a very important leap ahead made so far. We have very clearly seen that the situation at Lavender Hill was unbearable, was very unsustainable. The direct discharge, of course, of human waste and water into the ocean is something which should be stopped as soon as possible.
The Lavender Hill Fecal Treatment Plant, located at Mudo, will replace the old Lavender Hill. Here, the liquid waste will be treated before its effluent is discharged into the sea. Mrs. Florence Cobold is an engineer with Sewage Systems and has since 2014 supervised work on the construction of the modern Lavender Hill Fecal Treatment Plant.
We first have a pre-treatment stage, of which we are going to add a coagulant to separate the solids from the liquids. And we have a chain of processes that the waste is going to go through, and the final effluent to be acceptable to let into the lagoon or the sea. The sludge that will be separated from the liquid would also be further treated or co-digested for biogas generation or composting. The liquid effluent then moves into the regulation tank, and then from there to the USB for treatment, and then from the USB to go through an aerobic and an anaerobic process, and finally through a UV system before discharge into the lagoon. And it will also be channeled back into the system to be used.
The Accra Metropolitan Assembly, under whose ambit the Lavender Hill Fecal Treatment Plant is being constructed, cannot wait to shut down the old Lavender Hill.
The reconstruction of the Muda plant and its expansion of its capacity for us in Accra is a new day. It is welcome news. It is a very important facility. It will give us the opportunity to be able to treat it, whether it will come through the tanks or it will come through the sewage lines. Will go into the Muda plant and be treated into the ocean. It will take away and eliminate the environmental hazard that Lavender Hill over the years, so many years, almost 100 years now, has contributed negatively to our environment. It will eliminate that. And it's going to give us one of the finest liquid waste treatments, I believe, in Africa.
Liquid waste management in the Greater Accra region is expected to improve significantly with the commissioning of the Lavender Hill Fecal Treatment Plant. Residents of Polygonal and motorists on the old Winneba Road can now breathe fresh air.
Hello, good afternoon and welcome. It's a pleasure coming your way once again for the second episode of the Clean Report here on Metro TV. This is a platform dedicated to championing public health and safety, sanitation and environmental sustainability in Ghana. This week we take an insight into liquid waste, the threat if not managed well, the management and long-term solution as far as sustainability, behavioral change and public health and safety remains the focus of this conversation. My name is Kwestando and thank you for tuning in. Don't go nowhere, stay tuned, we'll be right back. Welcome back from the break. This is the Clean Report. Now, have you ever wondered what happens after you flush the unmentionable from your homes, offices, churches, public places, etc.? Coming up next is a field report that gives you an insight and the opportunity to understand the processes liquid waste management goes through.
In Ghana, liquid waste management has been a long, significant challenge, with inadequate infrastructure and limited resources leading to widespread pollution and health hazards. However, in recent years, there has been a transformation in the way liquid waste is managed in the country. Through government initiatives, partnerships with private sector companies, and community involvement, innovative solutions have been implemented to address the issue. This includes the construction of modern sewage treatment plants, the introduction of waste collection services, and the promotion of sustainable practices such as recycling and reuse of water. This episode takes you through the process of managing and recycling liquid waste. Stay tuned.
right, so thank you for staying on. We have arrived at the Sewage Systems Ghana Limited, a sister company to Zoom Lion Ghana Limited, and we are here to interact with liquid waste management experts to find out more on what goes into liquid waste management. Stay tuned as we engage. All right, so thank you. I have here with me Dr. Engineer Dennis Ofori Amanfo. Welcome to the Clean Report. And so today we are very honored to have you on the show. You are a waste management expert. And so today we want to find out from you the processes, what goes into liquid waste management. But before we go into that, where is here? I earlier introduced that this is Sewage Systems Ghana Limited, but to my viewers who may not understand, who is Sewage Systems Ghana Limited and your mandate?
All right, so thank you so much, Chris, and we are happy to have you here. Yes, so Sewage Systems Ghana Limited is a subsidiary of the Jospon Group of companies, and we are known for the design, construction and management of liquid waste. And when we say liquid waste, we box all together, both the fecal sludge and the wastewater. So,
all right, so if you say fecal sludge, what do you mean by that?
Yes, so
in simple terms.
So that is the feces or the toilet, as we know.
The toilet, yeah, I beg your pardon. Yeah.
Yes, so we ensure that the liquid waste or the toilet is being managed properly.
Right.
So that it does not become nuisance to the environment, but at the end of the day, it can be discharged into the environment without causing any harm. So basically, that is our core mandate, to ensure that we treat the liquid waste to a standard that we can discharge into the environment.
All right, so for my viewers who do not know the story, can you tell us how far you've come with liquid waste management?
Okay, thank you so much. Where we are standing is called the Lavender Hill. It was called Lavender Hill because of the conditions then.
Yeah.
It's over a decade now, about 100 years ago. What we used to do is to dump raw sewage into the sea. And during those times, for you to pass here and you don't have air-conditioned car, then you have to use handkerchief to cover your mouth or a nose mask or something. The stench alone was a serious thing, and we used to have a lot of cholera outbreak along the seashore. People who live along the seashore, the Colegono, the Jamestown, the Nungwa area, you can hear of a lot of cholera outbreak and stuff. So here was known for that. Because of the stench, it is called Lavender Hill. But the introduction of sewage systems, the visionary man, the Jospon Group, Dr. Joseph Sian Ejapon, he realized that it is something we can change. And with that vision, he brought about sewage system. In order for us to be able to have a fully automated treatment plant that will treat the fecal waste or the toilets or wastewater that we generate in Accra, so that we can be able to discharge into the environment. So as we stand here, you see, you cannot even smell anything.
Yes. In fact, we are right in the middle of this premises, and as you can see, I don't have my nose mask on, so it tells you the quality of work that has gone into here.
Yes.
So let's go.
Yes, so now people can go about their normal life. People who live along the seashore, now there's a lot of development. You can have hotels, there are a lot of hotels around. There's a lot of schools around, and people go about doing their normal work, and it does not pose any serious environmental hazards to them, because all that issues has been kept. At those days, flies all over, but now you can see people even eating along. Even within the treatment plant, it is safe, and we don't have that problem again. Yes, so yes, that is that.
All right, so thank you for that. And so, with my understanding with what you've said so far, I want to understand further what is your coverage area, in Accra? Yes, what's your coverage area?
Okay, so in Accra, we have two systems. We have the sewer network and the on-sewer, the on-site sanitation systems. So in Accra, most of the people use the on-site sanitation system. When I say on-site sanitation system, it means the people who use the septic tanks.
Right.
And there are people, they are connected pipelines to a treatment system. And that percentage is about 20 to 25%. And the rest is on sewage, where their manholes or septic tanks get full and they call sewage trucks to come and dislodge. So currently we are receiving over 200 to 350 trucks a day.
Wow.
Yes.
A day?
Yes, a day.
From which areas in Accra?
So all parts of Accra. In Accra we have 3 treatment plants. Just on this enclave we have 2.
Right.
That is the Lavender Hill Fecal Treatment Plant, and we have the Mudo Wastewater Treatment Plant. So the Mudo Wastewater Treatment Plant take care of the sewer networks.
So the sewer networks, you mean the households that
are connected
directly to this facility?
Yes.
Wow.
So there are pump stations scattered around.
Okay.
And because of distance, when they generate, it gets to the pump station, and the pump station pumps the treatment plant.
Right.
So areas like ministries, even Parliament House is connected to the system.
Right.
We have Dansuma area, we have the Kolebu, and some part of Jamestown. They are connected directly to the treatment plant. So when they discharge, it comes straight. Some go to the pump station and they pump directly to the treatment plant. And the other system, Lavender Hill Fecal Treatment Plant, is where we received the waste that is coming from people's home, and it is not directly linked to the plant. So sewage trucks goes there and pick it up, and they bring it here. So both the northern, the central, and the central business Accra, they all come here and dump.
Right.
The East Legon, the even Tema, they all come here. Kotoku, we have another plant at Kotoku where it receives. So almost all the coverage in terms of Accra, we handle waste, right? So the Kotoku treatment plant too also is a capacity of 1,000 cubic meters.
Right.
The Lavender Hill is a capacity of 350 cubic meters a day. And the Mudo wastewater treatment plant is 18,000 cubic meters a day.
Wow.
So we have the capacity to take care of all wastewater fecal sludge that is generated in Accra.
In Accra?
Yes.
All right, so someone would say Ghana is not just Accra. And so how wide are you beyond Accra?
Fantastic, fantastic. One of our core mandates as sewage system is to be able to cover the whole of Ghana. So progressively, we have been able to establish about 5 plants in the
5?
Yes, in about 4 regions. So we have Accra, we have Kumasi wastewater treatment plant, we have Tamale Fecal wastewater treatment plant, we have Takoradi wastewater treatment plant, and the Kotoku Fecal sludge treatment plant. So at the moment, we are moving progressively, and currently our coverage is about 4 or 5 regions. Our vision is to make sure that all the major regions in Ghana, we have our presence there. So we are working at moving to all the other regions that we have in Ghana to make sure that when we talk about liquid waste or fecal sludge, in Africa, Ghana will be mentioned as one of the cleanest cities in terms of liquid waste.
All right. So going forward, my personal checks and engagement with some people in some communities suggests to me that there are still some households who are illegally discharging their effluent. Is that how you call it?
Yes.
The toilet
yeah.
Into gutters and other drainages. In fact, especially they wait during rainy times or in the midnight, and they discharge. I think obviously these kind of practices are threats to the environment and also a threat to our public health. As an expert, what is your message to the general public who are engaged in this kind of practice?
Okay, thank you so much. I think it's a very good thing we let people know that in Ghana there are laws. We are not to discharge liquid waste or fecal sludge into any river body. I remember right after the establishment of the facility, there were some recalcitrant drivers who used to discharge into the sea, and they were taken to court. We have bylaws, the AMA, the local assemblies have bylaws in terms of managing liquid waste. And anybody who is found doing that will have to face the law. When we talk about liquid waste, it is made up of pathogens and stuff that affect human life. And this is why we advocate that we should not be dumping liquid waste into our water bodies. The same water will have to be treated and get back to us. So when we do that, it means we are contaminating the environment, and we are in terms of public health, it affects life. That is where we used to have cholera outbreak, dysentery, diarrhea, and all those stuff. So we need to stop. When your septic tank or manhole is full, you need to engage these septic tank operators, the drivers, the truck drivers. They come, dislodge, and take it to a treatment facility. They have associations, and for them, they know that they are not supposed to dump, because frequently we have trainings with them, we have education with them, so they have been trained to handle that. It is when people who are not part of these associations or part of these septic truck drivers, they come, you call those people, these quack people, that is where they come and offload and discharge into open drains. And this should seriously be avoided to prevent these public health implications. So when your septic tank is full at home, you need to engage a private septic tank driver. He comes, dislodge, and bring it back to the treatment facility where we treat, and we are able to treat to standard that you can discharge into the environment without any adverse effects. Yeah.
All right. Thank you so much. We are wrapping up, but before that, is there any appeal you want to make to authorities? You know, you are doing a very fantastic job that really touches positively on public health.
Yes.
And I think that you need some sort of support. What is your appeal to authorities or governments?
Okay, so I'll have it in twofold. One appeal to the individuals and the other to the government. As you can see, the treatment process, the first point of call is screening, where you need to screen our waste. In Ghana, most of our septic tanks are designed in low-lying areas, and when it rains, the runoff will push all the solid waste into them.
Yes.
Both sand and... So when the trucks come, they pull it along with all the solid waste and they come to the treatment plants. And this really affects the treatment plant, because you need to be able to screen it for it to be free from foreign materials before you can pump, because we are dealing with pumps and biological systems. And when you have a lot in them, then it means your screening process have to be beefed up all the time, because they are sizes. Can you imagine, Chris, that we are... Sometimes you can get a whole blanket in the liquid waste.
Wow.
And the sad aspect too is sometimes even fetus, babies.
Jesus Christ.
Yes, in the liquid waste, which is not proper. I have had the opportunity to travel to other countries, like the European countries, Switzerland for instance. You have their waste, the only thing you see is tissue, which makes it easier and cost effective in treating. But in African waste, it comprises of a whole lot of things. You have stones, you have glass, you have condoms, you have pads, you have blankets, babies, coins, iPhones, phones, a whole lot of stuff. So you need to really put systems in place to be able to take care of all this waste in sizes, and it increases the treatment cost, because we are dealing with electricity and those stuff. It increases it. So my advice to the general public is that liquid waste is liquid waste, solid waste is solid waste. You do not have to mix them.
Yeah.
And you have people, when they are going to they are going to have comfortable in their public toilet areas, they carry poly bags of solid waste and they dump it in there, which I think is inappropriate.
Sure.
Probably they might think that there's no form of treatment, but there's treatment. It adds extra cost to the treatment, so we should avoid that. Let us keep solid waste separately and liquid waste separately. That will make treatment very easy for us. And the other aspect to government is that we have come to an age where we cannot compromise on liquid or solid liquid waste. Most of the times, African countries concentrate so much on solid waste, ignoring liquid waste, and that is our silent killer, because we have a lot of seepage into the environment.
Yeah.
We contaminate the sea or river bodies. Our fishes are being contaminated. They absorb heavy metals, and it comes back to us. And this is where we have increased. We have cases that in terms of kidney problems and those illness that is associated to this silent killer, and that is what we have to look at. So government needs to really enforce the law in terms of dumping into open drains, dumping into river bodies. That have to be kept. And in siting a wastewater treatment plant, normally we look at a water body that is closer, that after treating and it conforms to standard, you can discharge. And this facility, you can see, is located right close to the sea proximity.
Yeah.
And the problem is constant rust in terms of corrosion with our equipment because of the sea breeze.
Yeah.
So maintenance cost is very high. And if we have such facility and government is not supporting or frequently making payment in terms of the payment agreement, it makes running the plant very difficult. So there should be frequent flow of the money in terms of payments to the private sector to be able to manage the facility and to be able to treat the liquid waste to a standard that we can discharge into the environment. And I believe I have had the opportunity to travel in most of the African countries in terms of their liquid waste, trying to consult and try and see how we can help them.
Yeah.
I think Ghana is far advanced.
Wow.
And we need to hold that highly to the extent that we be able to, Ghana will become a beacon in terms of waste management, because all African countries are looking up to us to be able to replicate what we have in their countries. So what we have to take care of it. We do not have to make it waste in terms of look on it for it to collapse, but be able to sustain it so that we replicate this model that we have in Ghana to all other African countries. So thank you so much, Chris.
Today on Clean Tip, sanitation is the foundation of public health and the first step towards sustainable development. Thank you.
So this is how we wrap up on this segment of the Clean Report. And so stick and stay for more.
Smell that? That's the aroma of a whole continent. Welcome to season 3 of Cook Africa, and I'm your host, Bilkis Jiwa. Cook Africa is a platform that showcases the traditions of Africa through food, from the East, West, Central, and Northern Africa. This is your show. Catch me on Cook Africa this and every Saturday at 5 p.m. on Metro TV.
Let's go.